Alright, so we're going to be picking up exactly where we left off. Alright, let's take a look here. Let's see where we did leave off here. Alright. So pretty much we set up the server, the back end of the app here. Again, we are going to be building a note-taking app, basically for trading. Something that will be something I use on a daily, basically. And again, I'm using CRUD. That's going to help me. I'm teaching myself coding. Just freaking crazy. Crazy. Alright, so let's take a look here. Let's see what we have. I'm going to get right into it. Also, let me show you exactly what we have previously built with CRUD. Alright, now CRUD is ChatGPT on steroids, especially for coders and developers or ideas, if you have ideas, things like that. I've built some crazy things already. First project I did though, one that was something I really enjoyed building because it was really such a it kind of involved everything. Basically, it kind of involved the full scope. We built our first website here. First SaaS, basically the instant PDF kit, login potentials, and like I was saying, you don't even need a bunch of different other softwares. I mean, if you could code it, this is when I realized that you could code pretty much anything when I was building this site, right? I mean, from the looks and functionality, I mean, you could literally code any type of site, and it's amazing. All right, so this site uses Python for its tools. Okay. Then I logged in. We made the payment processor all through Stripe, and that helps. All right, and you can sign in, create your accounts. It logs into a database, free accounts, paid accounts. Now another one that I liked, I just recently made this one for a real estate agent or a real estate investor where they're getting leads, and this was crazy as well. All right, this is literally when I realized you don't need any other software. Really simple hosting plan to do. That's all these are. All right, I got a hosting plan, and then we started putting up sites for other people on that plan. Forms. Now they wanted it to where the leads go straight to their email, and they wanted to also be able to run ads and generate calls. And these calls are all through an AI agent that I set up for them. I mean, it was really fun project here. One page pretty much. They weren't concerned about too many things adding, like blogs and things like that. So now let's take a look here. Now, before we get started, if you're liking a lot of this type of content, definitely join here. Income Hub 247. You could join the community and get free access to a list of tools that I use on a daily, okay, to make a lot of these tools. A lot of prompts. I have prompts in there as well, and it's just really things that I use that help me. I know that help other people, and I'm sure they'll help you as well. All right, so let's get right into it. All right, so we're on the back end here. I started realizing though everything was cold. Everything is cold. Everything. All right. Now let's get where we're going here. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna set this up here to where Here we go. Alright. And like I mentioned, I mean, it's a bunch of different tools. You can do a lot of this with ChatGPT. I started with ChatGPT. I still have ChatGPT free version. You could add a paid version, free or paid version of Claude. But now something even crazier is that you got Claude is directly into the Visual Studio, which is crazy. All right, Visual Studio, you could add Claude CLI into it, and you could literally code all of this. I mean, right away. I mean, it'll code 15, 20 files. I mean, hundreds, even thousands of lines deep for some of these files, all in one go. Right, so I saw that and I said, hey, I gotta get that. I have to get it. All right, so let's see where I left off here. Create a tail. Create the routes before. Okay, and I believe we did make that function. Okay, so we was ending right here at the routes. All right, so we're gonna start our routes here. Let's tell it here. All right, so again, we're using Claude here. We're building out our note-taking blog style type of voice assistant trading app. All right, so let's get right into it here. And this is how I have Claude I'm using Claude like I mentioned. I'm gonna put it up here because this is how I'm using it. All right, if you don't have Claude, get it. All right, that's been one of the best things I've purchased actually. Let's see if I could just get to, okay, here we go. Now this thing, like I mentioned early in the first video, the first stream earlier, is that it will literally code everything for you immediately, right? And then so I started off like that when I was first learning the code, and then I realized I really want to learn what is going on, right? I want to learn what parts I'm coding, what languages I need, when, why I'm having to use them. And so I started using it, instead of it just practically giving me the answer, using these different models to teach me, right? And I have learned a hell of a lot. So can you. All right, so see, and then with this specific one, I prompted it to don't just give me the answer. All right, don't just give me the answer. I want to learn. All right, it's tons of tools that'll build a lot of things for you, build full websites. I've done that, of course, but if you don't know what's going on, right? If you can't understand what's going on in this code, man, when it generates something, I mean, of course you could reprompt it. Okay, of course I always stress prompt engineering, but if you literally can't go in here and figure out what's going on with these code lines and what's the error, I mean, you'll be pretty frustrated. Honestly, you'll be just as frustrated as if you didn't code anything, which is crazy. All right, so let's see here. Now, so this is where we left off. We left off on our routes. All right, our API routes. I've already set up Express. We got SQL where we're hooked into the database. Let's make sure we're still there. So we do have our database here with our SQL. For now, just have the users. All right, users are there, and of course I'm the only user at the moment. It's going to be something locally I run. And then we have the notes section of the app. All right. Now, before we write the code, let's think about this through the steps. Now, what data do we expect? And this is the data that we'll expect from our notes, all right, which we already have that set. Now, what should we validate? There we go. It's mood options, okay. Database operations, insert the notes into the note taker, okay. And get the inserted note back with an ID and timestamp, response in. All right, now you see this is what I started telling it to do, kind of quiz me in a sense, right? This is how you learn, right? If you want to learn, I mean, tell it to teach you. All right, so no content is provided. All right, that's perfect. I like that. So that's where you'll get the 400 error. Database saves. All right, default message, database save, fail. Okay, that'll be a server error. Everything works perfectly. Okay. All right, so $200. And then no content. Should have a validation before hitting the server. All right. Never I like that because I heard that before. It's basically saying I would really want to do a front end because I was thinking of a front end type of error, but I'll do a front end and a back end error because it says never trust the client. Basically, never trust the client or the front side of the user experience, basically to give you anything correct, right? You always want to do a server side validation. So let's take a look here. All right, so we're going to code the first route here. And in that first route, we're going to be extracting data. All right, so we're going to extract data, and then we're going to validate it, and then we're going to insert it into the database, right? Now, then once we save it, we're going to have our responses back. And then, of course, we're going to end that first route with a error, basically a catch error. All right, so let's get right to it. Let's go back to our server. We've already started it. Async functions here. So let's get here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a try. Then I'm gonna lay out little notes here as we're doing that. And we're gonna extract the data. Now, what do we want to set up? Where we want to set up our variables within this deal that will be passed to the database. All right. All right, and this will basically match what's going into our table. All right, so we're gonna have a title, we're gonna have our content, which is like our notes that we decide, or blog posts. We're gonna have a note type, and then the future symbol that we're trading. All right. And then that will be the incoming portion, right? That's going to be the incoming portion of the body that we send in. All right. And then this validation part. Now we start the statement, basically. So we're gonna do here, and then we're gonna go there and there. All right. Now within here, I'm gonna ask it some questions on this part, because this all right. So now if the content, I'm gonna ask it about that specifically here. It's a validating thing, basically, if there's no content or if it's too long. We're gonna return the response status here of 400. And then as I've been learning the code, what it made me realize is that you start to kind of understand languages kind of before you could fluently talk them, right? That's what it literally made me think of. I said, wait a minute, because I started to kind of understanding the syntax more and more. And as I started to code more, I mean, of course, you start picking up different similarities even between languages. Like I started with Python, right? And Python, especially in web development, is more of a back-end type of thing, right? You use it a lot. It's a lot of back-end functionality that you could do, right? All right, so we have that route there, partially made. Then we're going to go ahead here. Now this is where we're going to insert that data into the database. All right. Now, and we're going to use a constant here, and then we're going to do a constructor or deconstructor or something like that it's called here. Basically, it takes that JSON data, and then we will basically pick out the results here. All right. Of course, wait. And of course, we just learned about the async and await, the important part of that. And I actually learn best when I'm doing. All right, so I kind of just jump smooth into what I wanted to build immediately. All right. I tried doing like tutorials where we learned the boring stuff basically, where you start learning the basics, and I could not get it. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't. It wasn't keeping me. First of all, it wasn't keeping me entertained, right? And I learn best when I'm kind of entertained or something that I want to learn, right? So the best way is to code something that you want to code, right? No type, future symbol. Okay. Values here. There we go. And then we're gonna have our placeholders here. 1, 2, 3, 4 placeholders here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alrighty. Alright. Like that. And now we're gonna go to the next one here. There we go. Alright. Now, step 4. And we're gonna get the save data back. Alright, so we're gonna get the save notes, and then we're gonna go here. And these are MySQL queries. All right. So it's gonna run all of this when we click, basically. Where ID is equal to, and then our placeholder here. Okay. Now we're going to go to the next step. Final step here is going to be sending the response back to the client. All right. Now, and then in that response, we're going to have our success. We're going to have our message here. Successfully, and then lastly we're gonna have the actual note. All right, Save note. Have that in index. So get the latest one there. Here we go. Now we're gonna end that with our actual error catching, right? You want to catch the errors. So right here, and then we're gonna log that as well. Here, and then we're gonna have the actual error. All right. Then we're gonna send our status code here of 500 because that will be a server issue for the client. All right. JSON. There we go. To save note. All right, that looks good there. Perfect. All right, let's save it. Make sure everything. There we go. Looks like we have one error here. This is the fun part. This is where it all happens here. Okay. Right here's expecting. Variable declaration. Oh, yeah, that's definitely wrong. Here we go. And something else too, man. Once you kind of start looking at a lot of the code over and over, you start to see. I mean, you can kind of start debugging certain things. You know, I call them small wins. They're actually big wins because if you didn't know anything about coding, right? If you don't know anything about coding, you can start with the hello world, right? And that hello world will give you a win, right? Okay, code is added. Let's test it. All right, so far what we've done here, we just set up our first route, all right? And we're gonna test this route, all right? And most likely what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna end up testing it inside of, oh, I like this here, better for string, okay. All right, let's do option 2, and then we put simple index page. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start the front end portion. I'm gonna do a basic front end basically so we could get this thing all set up here. All right, let's get back to the terminal. All right, so everything looks good. Our server started properly. That means no errors. Everything is running. So let's close that out. Now we're gonna start the front end. Okay, there we go. All right. Like I mentioned too, if you can use AI tools, right? And then you kind of know what's going on within, within the code. I mean, you could code better, man. Right? Instead of just sitting there copying and pasting or letting these things build for you, which is cool. I mean, there is nothing completely wrong with that, right? I myself, I want to know exactly what's going on. Why am I doing such a thing? Alright, so we got our basic, very basic first layout of the app here. Alright, this is kind of, and then I'm gonna add voice to it. This will all have a nice dashboard, but this is our basic setup here. Basically, you can set up a mood. Alright, I can see what type of node I'm doing in here. We could add our symbol. Alright. I mean, this is gonna be crazy. And then of course, once I log it onto the database, it'll have a timestamp, it'll have memory basically of everything. I mean, it's gonna be a major thing here. And like I mentioned, this is exactly how I've been able to build our first full SaaS that I built. Let me show you here. I mean, this taught me a lot. But what it really taught me is that, I mean, you don't need a bunch of tools, man. I mean, this is all on a hosting plan, simple hosting plan. I paid like 20 something bucks for the year for the hosting, literally. And this is fully ready, right? I have backend tools that's actually doing a lot of the work here, right? I have Stripe integrations here for our payment processing, logins, databases. I mean, it was literally a full-fledged thing here. And I started realizing that that's pretty much what every website or every SaaS, multi-billion-dollar SaaS is out here or are really running on. I mean, that's really all they need, right? You have different frameworks and things like that, but all right, so let's go here. All right, so we got there, and then we'll let the girl make the form actually work. Okay. You know what? Let's do it this way here. So we did already set our server up. Okay, so we're gonna visit here, and this should go right back to that page. All right. And cannot get. So something is off with our server here. Which I'm guessing is going to be it's a portion here I remember here. Got our database, our routes should be up here. From what I'm seeing, I don't think I added it. Alright, let's go back here. Server, and this is and then, so of course, so what I'm doing now, I'm doing a little debugging here. I have my server, there we go. There we go. All right. You know what? This was supposed to do it actually. Now this may not be right. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay, so we have Express static, and that's to the public. Express use. Let's see where I went wrong here. So I do have the index page there. let's do this. Let me just add one other thing here. I like to show it my actual file path that I have. Okay. And I may need to, let me do this as well. What I'm gonna do is change the folder name that we're in. Right, yeah. Rename it. And if you haven't started coding, like I say, it's not too late, right? Code anything. Red is in another file. Okay, so we can't do that yet. I'm gonna have to change it within here. Oh, there we go. Ah, I got it. Okay. I see what's wrong. So of course we're gonna have our whole, I needed to make a whole nother directory. There we go. I need the public directory. And then I'm gonna move this page into it. There we go. Now that should fix it. Alright, let's take a look here and make sure. Okay, should be here, fix here. So I got the public folder. Alright. Okay. Alright, let me do this. Let's do this here. Alright, npm. I'm gonna run the dev. And now this should open that home page here. And it's still not. Let's see what's up. Okay. And this is the learning and the fun part, right? Is the debugging. Little things. It can be little small things. And I already see it. Little small things. A letter is missing. You done messed it up. There we go. There we go. All right. So everything is being served properly. All right. So we are now cooking with grease. Now we're gonna start connecting everything. All right. It says there's still an issue in your insert query. Look at line 52. Okay. So we have this going so far. Of course, it's not styled and looks nice yet. That's the last thing I'm worried about, right? You want the functionality to work, and then we'll worry about styling it, making it look nice. All right, so now also have an error in our route. Let me take a look here. It's gonna be on line 55, it looks like, or 51 looks like. Let me see. Let me see what it looked like originally. Alright. Okay, we got our front end. And, oh, yeah, I missed a whole section in the insertion to the database. Okay. So I'm going to fix that now. Let's add the rest of it here. It's good. That's the beautiful thing about AI, right? It's gonna tell you exactly what you jacked up on, right? And it never will say no. Fix the server code first, restart, then add the JavaScript and test. Okay. Alright. Alright, here. Now let's fix this route, because the route is jacked. Alright. So I'm missing the values array. So let's add the values array right here. Here we go. So we're gonna have here. Like I mentioned as well, if you haven't started coding, it's not too late, man. Especially going into the next few years, right? I mean, AI is taking off now, but honestly, AI has been around, right? Artificial intelligence has been around. As soon as you have computers and doing calculations and things like that, I mean, it's been here. Now, the big difference is what's available to the public and things like that now. I mean, the public really has Albert Einstein on steroids in their back pocket now. That's the way I look at it. You literally have Albert Einstein in your back pocket, right? And you could have it there for free, right? If you're not using it, man, you're missing out, right? Don't miss out. Get to coding anything. Get to learn. I mean, it teaches you. They have. Now I've just read an article not too long ago. Is that they have started implementing AI to tutor kids, man. Right? Literally to tutor kids. I went to Taco Bell the other day. I went to Taco Bell today and the order taker was a robot. True story. I mean, it's a full-fledged AI that is now taking orders. And I said, man, that is dope, because now I don't have to deal with the person with an attitude, right? It's never late, right? It gets there, it's always energized. I said, man, this is it here, right? This is it. The future is here, right? It ain't later. It's not coming later. It is here. Only thing from here now is that it's just constantly evolving, right? It's just continuously evolving, right? Which is crazy, man. It blows my mind like crazy. All right, so we have this array here, and I'm gonna ask it about this because I'm not quite too sure. I know these here is laying out certain things, but I need to know the specifics of this portion. All right, and we'll get to that soon. Like I mentioned, I'm using CRUD. It's teaching me and helping me code, right? It's helping me code and teaching me all at the same time.
With YouTube Music Premium,
all right, looks like I missed another array right below here, which I thought I had. Let me see.
Enjoy thousands of customized
what I didn't do is make it an array.
And jam to music when your screen is off or while using other apps. There's more to discover with YouTube Music Premium. Try
so I'm gonna make that the array here. All right. And then now what we're going to start doing is adding the JavaScript to the form. That's what's going to start to tie in the front end and the back end. Alright, we want to tie these things together. Okay, got the title. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so we have the array. Now we're going to add the JavaScript. Now let's add the JavaScript to make the form actually work. All right. So now what I'm going to do here, we're going to go back to our front end, and then we're going to start adding that JavaScript portion. That's what's going to get our entire form to work here. All right. So I'm going to go right under here, and let's get to it. Now, if you don't know also about the DOM, right? That's something else I'm starting to get deeply into, right? Manipulating the DOM. And then I started to learn also that's just one API, right? It's just one web API that you have access to, the DOM, the document object model. But what it allows you to do, of course, is manipulate everything that you see on a page, right? I'm gonna go ahead and get the event listener, and we're gonna submit that. Now we're gonna get a function here started. I'm gonna have that error, get our arrow functions going. And also, if this type of stuff interests you, if you like coding just as much as I do, right, or wanting to learn, definitely subscribe to the channel. Subscribe, like the video, because I'm definitely going to be doing these. I said, man, let me start to stream all of those things I'm coding, right? Even as I'm learning, right? I'm still learning. I'm learning every single day. But it's fun, man, because you start to see what's out there. I start seeing different sites, and I'm like, wait a minute, man, I could have coded something like that, right? You can too. It doesn't take much. I mean, you could literally code anything, everything. It comes down to code. Anything that's online. I said, man, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna learn, right? I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna take the time to start learning. And you have literally the best teacher that you could ever find anywhere, which is any AI model, right? It boosts even your value, right? I have friends that they've actually changed careers, man. If you're not in code, man, this is just the beginning. That's the way I look at it. It's never too late, right? Never too late to start learning something new. Learn a skill, and this is a hell of a skill to know, right? Especially as you think of different businesses that you may want. All of them mostly gonna need a website, right? And then if you look up how much a lot of these coders are making, right, you will be surprised, right? Just look it up. Look it up. That could be you, right? You could change your career. You could change your business if you know how to code. You could work for other businesses, right? Work for yourself better, right? And right now what we're doing is making our form actually work. Alright. And we're pulling these values that it'll be sending here. And we're going to be passing that into the back end to our database. And that database is going to be storing this different stuff. Right? And then I'm going to have a talking function, things like that. All for trading, right? As I trade, as I think of stuff that I want to do, I said, let me code it.
A real Etsy buyer review for handmade home decor by a real Etsy seller. They are truly beautiful to look at.
There we go. Nice ad there for you guys here from my music.
Shop the Etsy app.
Let's get back to it. There we go. All right. All right. So we have our mood. Let's get our node type. I'll tell you another skill that I learned when I was in high school, and I didn't want to. I took this class because of this girl I knew. She was taking it, and she was fine as shit. And I said, man, I gotta get to her. So she signed up for this typing class, man. And I said, let me sign up, right? Let me see. And besides getting her, learning how to type was literally one of the best skills I learned, right? I mean, cause helps you everywhere. You ever seen anybody that types super slow? or if you're trying to express an ideal onto a Word document, right? And you're like, shit, and you're single-handedly punching keys, you're like, God damn, I wish I knew how to type. And while I was in the class, I didn't even want to be in the class. I'm in the class the whole time, damn near complaining. And I got to the end of the class, and I realized, I said, wait a minute, shit, I can type fast than a motherfucker. I was doing single key, you know, when you get your index finger, you're looking down at the keyboard, you're like, shit, where's the A, where's the B, where's the C at? Yeah, I learned that shit, man. That was one of the best things for me. But this is nothing. I've seen, man, I had a couple of Asian friends too. Man, these cats type like, if you ever seen a real person type that knows how to type, I mean, it'll blow your damn mind. You like, shit. Alright, now we're gonna set up our try statement here. Alright, our try and error kitchen here. So now we're gonna set up our variables here. And this will be connecting the back end, right? This is going to start to connect everything. Alright, so we got that. Then we're going to add our actual API methods here. And then our header here, and then the body. The header, that's just going to tell it the actual content type. Okay. And then lastly, the body. Here we go. Stringify here. Okay, there. All right. All right. Next portion here. All right. Still in our try statement here. And then now we're gonna do our results here. Okay, and we're gonna have our response, and we want to change the inner HTML. And what do we want to change it to? Let's do it this way. Now that's the pre-formatted text, and we're gonna just format this thing. Stringify here. Okay, that all looks right there. No errors. I have one error actually in my index file. Let's see where that's coming from. Well, let's finish and then I'll finish errors. Alright. Now we're going to do our last portion here, the catch statement. Alright. We're going to do the error. And then we're going to document. Element by ID. Then we're going to have our response here. Message there, and then in our statement here, there we're gonna P-less style that. And also our error is gone. There we go. Alright, so we're gonna test this thing out. Let's make sure everything is right. So this is our whole JavaScript that will start to post. Alright, it's gonna be posting into our database. Alright. Everything looks good. Let's visit it. Alright. Matter of fact, let's do it this way for now. Alright. Alright, let's see. Now also another thing you want to always have up here as well, your inspect window. You want to see what's going on. Alright. So say we just went long enq, long enq at, and if you haven't been paying attention, man, if you trade at all, right? NQ is at new highs, man. New highs, all-time highs. And people are trying to figure out when is it going to reverse, right? Interest rates just dropped 0.25%. I'm not banking on reversals, right? If anything, retrace, and then, I mean, if something bad economically happened, just wait for it. All right, I used to try to predict these things here. Okay, let's see what's going on here. In promise document is not defined. All right, let's see what that's talking about. Here we go again with another fun part. Okay. And what I like to do as well, what I like to do with Claude specifically, or any of them really, ChatGPT, Claude, is give it the files, right? Give it your files. It could debug everything that you need. I'm gonna literally upload and give it everything I have here. And it's gonna tell me what in the world is wrong. It's something with the, I may have something mistyped or something like that. I mean, it could be literally It could literally be anything, right? It could be so small of an error, which I see it now. And that's the crazy thing about typos, right? You see that? There we go. Let's add that in there. One letter will throw your whole system off. All right, let's restart. Okay, trade, bam, bam. Okay. And we should be good. Nope. Saying it's not a function. I may have a few things jacked up here. Alright. Typos. A lot of typo errors. Typing too fast. I'm talking about typing and I've got tons of errors here. Let's see what we got here. Look at this. Document here. Title. So we got the title, no type, and the future symbol. Typing too damn fast. Okay. Oh, look at that. Typos, man. Okay, we should be good here. Let me just make sure. My header, I'm missing some stuff here. And that's the best thing about, man, I mean, literally with AI, you could literally, like I mentioned, you could literally prompt this thing and it'll build, especially if you get into CRUD APIs, hook that up into VS Code. I've done that as well. It'll build your entire project with one good prompt. I mean, it'll have, I mean, I've built 20 files, hundreds to thousands of lines of code at one shot. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I saw somebody do that. That's when I realized I had to buy it. I said, I have to buy CRUD, okay? I mean, I pretty much wanted them to take my money because I said, this is crazy. Think about it. Think about what you have with any of the language models, even the free ChatGPT. You have a free, ultimate, damn near godlike brain inside of your pocket. All right? Inside of your pocket, man. I make myself take a moment at times and just think about that. I'm like, damn, I have a super brain in my pocket, man. All right, so now we should be error free. I'm just going through the chat. I'm making sure we should be good though here. All right, let's restart everything. Okay. And like I said, I'm using it to teach me, right? Teach me coding, right? I mean, of course it codes for you. But when you think about it, if you have your brain to think, right, and then you have an ultimate brain that you control as the thinker, think about how much power that gives you. Gives you a hell of a lot. Still have errors here. Let's see what's going on here at anonymous value. And something is probably mistyped again. Let me check here. Get element by ID. Okay. I saved it, yeah. Alright, let's see. And all of the sites, anything starts with what? An idea. Alright, you have an idea. If you could translate that idea into a complete sentence, a thought, a paragraph, or anything, which I call prompt engineering, you could do a hell of a lot. Alright. Alright, we're just gonna debug this. Alright. Still have some typos. Alright, let's see where they are. Wrong ID. Those typos are a booger, man. Cause the thing is, it could all load right. You could have no problems, and then you see here. But it's the value here. I see what's going on. Which it tells you in a sense. Alright, so let me get back here. It's this portion here. So we got future symbol there. It's in quotes and typos here. That's at the end. Down here. Okay. Oh, okay. Here and here. Here we go. There we go. Alright, let's test it again here. Should be good. Alright, everything's saved. Let's make sure. There we go. Q long from 24,000. Damn it, let me see. So now we're getting the post error. So we're getting a 500 error. Failed to save note. Let's see what's going on there. Could be something on the server end. Cause really the way I think about it too, once you get this type of once you get your backend and everything set up, I mean, styling it, making it look nice and things like that, the actual visual side, that's really the easy part. I mean, or easier part, because that's even still a booger. But the back end, how everything functions, the actual brain of the application, that's what I'm saying. That's what you want to figure out for a lot of complex sites. Okay, so I have a few other errors, looks like on my server. And that's the whole beauty about it, right? Little typos, man, will mess you up. Alright. So on our server, let's take a look here. I have an error in here somewhere. Wrong variable. don't see the wrong variable though. Let's see. Wrong variable name. I got title, content, mood, note type, futures equals. I know I'm not tripping. I may be. Let me look at this again here. I got the title, content, the mood, note type. Oh, look at that. This bit here. There we go. Alright, so we got one down. Let's look at the other here. And let me look at the actual table. So our table inside of here is called notes. Alright. And there's the error. Alright. Those little typos, man, will mess your entire project up, and you can spend, I mean, like I said, you don't have any errors pop up here. I mean, you don't really have much of an error here neither, right? I mean, the error, that kind of leaves you pretty much just as clueless. You know it's an error, but you don't know where. AI help you, right? And looks like one other thing here. Let's see. So we got the notes section fixed there. Insert into notes. Notes. Okay. Got one last error. Which is a variable name. I was just talking about typing and how fast I type. I've typed and jacked up all this stuff. Wrong variable. Let's see where we. Okay. Here we go. Okay, that should fix it. Alright, let's restart this bad boy. So, say we go long NQ. And like I'm mentioning, this is going to be something I use, a personal journal for my trades. And have it basically have a database that it pulls from. It's going to be able to remind me of things and things like that. Kind of like a little trading assistant or accountability type of thing. But each of these notes, look at that, look at that, look at that. There we go. Now let's go check our database, make sure that connection has happened and is logging properly. There we go. There we go. Look at that. There we go. And then so basically it'll be able to read from this database. Timestamps, of course, right? But it's going to be able to read from this database, keep track of things, know exactly what I'm doing, and it's going to be able to help, right? Tell me exactly what I need to do right, if I'm doing anything right. Thinking about adding like motivational things to it as well. Error is fixed, and it to the. So now we know our API route is completely working now. Alright, it's working. We know that for a fact. It's working. Everything is operational. We have auto-generated IDs. We got the title, our mood, how we feel on the actual trade. We have actually few categories of what we actually are blogging about or whatever. even down to the general, right? I could just put a basic node in there, but all related to trading. All right, so let's take a look here. All right. Start intelligent. All right. Okay, so let's start the next part. Now that we know our first API route is working, everything's logging properly. Options. All notes. And like I mentioned again, we're using Claude. So Claude is our handy dandy super brain, right? Has completely helped with all of this. Has taught me so much about coding, and I'm still learning, right? I'm still learning. I mean, it's always stuff to learn, right? But instead of going to things like Stack Overflow or something like that, you could go to AI tool and it's gonna tell you exactly specifics, right? You could upload your files, everything, and it's gonna break it down, man. I mean, you really cannot beat that. All right, so think through. So we're back in our Claude here, still breaking down some steps that we want to take. What I'm gonna work on now is a get route, basically a get route that will actually show. I'm thinking about it to where it could show anything. I pretty much say if I want to only show the trades, right? Or if I want to show general, or I want to show all the notes, it'll do that, right? Okay. Do this first. Notes, only trade notes. Okay. Build the route. Think about the logic. Okay. Alright. So, and like I mentioned, I have Claude. The way I have Claude teaching me is I told it, don't just give me the actual code, right? I mean, of course it will. Alright. It gave me all of these different code things, but it's explaining why am I doing things. And then at the end, once I finish certain portions, I tell it give me a complete wrap up. Basically, give me a wrap up so I can kind of look over, muscle memory type of thing. So now what we're going to be working on is the get route, right? And I like these questions here, right? These questions are going to have you thinking about exactly what we want to build out. All right, so let's take a look here. URL params query for URL. Params. And there's so many. All the languages really are pretty much entwined. You know, combined in a sense, man. As you start building more and more complex things, you start seeing that, oh man, I need this language for this. For one, like SQL, that's something I wanted to start picking up, especially when you're dealing with memory and databases, things like that, for a specific app, right? From, so I'm gonna do here from notes here. Okay, and then 3. Alright, so what SQL query gets only the trade notes? Only the trade notes. The trade notes. That query comes in. Then notes and pool for just trades or any other categories. Alright, and alright, so like I mentioned, I have Claude here, and I have Claude literally been like a super teacher. A super teacher on steroids, man. You can literally learn anything. Then it explains it. Alright, it's explaining it before I really start to get into the code. Alright, so let's see what we have here. So this is some here, the params versus the query for the SQL, or the request. This is like the parsing part of it here. So params here, route parameters. Did I put a period there or what? Oh, did I? Yeah, okay. Alright. I was close. This is how I had it. Just syntax order, okay. So I was almost there. Your logic is right, just syntax order, okay. SQL with filtered notes. I don't get it. Let me see. Ah, that's what I put, ain't it? Alright, select. Oh, okay. See that? Damn. I put the from statement first, okay. So it's there, okay, select. So you want to select from notes. Alright, that's how you'll get all. Alright. Now for the filtering query, let's see here if you want to get exactly. So we're gonna do select all from notes, and then we're telling it where note type, right, is equal to trades. Alright, this is where the query comes in. Okay. New is first. Order by created at. Alright, it's new is first. It's oldest. Okay. See how it's giving explanations? Alright. All right, so let's build the logic. Think about the patterns here. So now we're gonna build this get route here. All right, so what's the complete SQL for all notes newest first? Ooh. All right, let's see. All right, so we're gonna go select. Let's do it this way. And this is how I found out. This is how I learn and code at the same time. All right, it gives you exactly what you need. Of course, I could have this thing just blast out the whole thing, right? But I don't want to do it that way. I want to understand why I'm doing it, how I can reuse it, things like that. So select all from newest first. Okay, it just told me that, right? Notes. And then we're gonna go here like this. That's what I'm thinking. Alright, and then what's the complete SQL for filtered notes newest first? Alright. And this is like the query basically. This is where this comes in. So we're gonna select all from notes where I believe note type is let's see here. And then alright. And new is first, okay. And then we're gonna go here. So now it has me doing SQL. Alright. Now what should we return if no notes exist? Empty array or message? I would say a message. Display. And this is literally how I been coding and learning, man. All right, so order, order part. Let's see where I went wrong here. So that part of it, right? All right, select from notes. We at that part, and then
when too much work bogs you down.
Okay, and this tells it to order it by the created at portion, so the time, okay. Filtered notes, yeah, I'm missing that ordered by portion. Let's see what I had here. And there's another ad from my music here on YouTube. Let's get that off there. Alright. Okay. And I'll actually go through these and I start to literally understand what I did wrong. And I mean, this is literally how you learn, man. Right? This is better than any textbook, better than pretty much any tutorial that you could find on YouTube. I mean, it's literally better than anything that you could do. Just dive into the deep end and get to coding, make mistakes, you know, and use AI as your super partner to build, right? Alright, so let's take a look here. So So all the notes basically, I'm missing that ordered by, so which is how you would basically tell it to do the newest first. All right. Need for comparison. Okay. No notes, great thinking about showing a message. Okay. See. Alright, now let's code. Alright, so now we're gonna code this entire route. Once it's added, we're gonna be able to test the route. Alright, so let's get right to it. This is our first route. This will be our next route. Okay, here we go. Start the route. I'm gonna have API. And then we're gonna have an async function. Now let's build it. And with the routes, of course, especially with errors and things like that, that's where you start the try and catch statements. All right. So we're gonna build those out. Let's build that out. Let's go. Set our variables. See if I could do it fast with no typos this time. All right. I already have a typo, look at that. Okay. So now that we have that and the type, let's take that. Now we're going to put our SQL statement here. This part will add filter if type is fine. Then a value basically there. And then we're gonna push that out. There we go, params, that push. And then that's gonna be the type. Now this portion here is going to order by newest first. So we always want to see the newest entry first, right? Alright. And we're gonna go order by, and then we're gonna go create it at descending here, extract the notes here into our notes here. And we're gonna do a wait so we can make sure to not get a undefined. There we go. Notes, and now we're going to start our status here. All right. Okay. It's going to tell you how many notes you have. Ah, that fucked up something. Let's see. Here we go. And then the filter. It doesn't look like any typos there. I may have. Let me see. 5 problems so far. We'll fix that in a minute. Now we're going to start our catch statement, which could fix a lot here. And that'll be for our errors. Okay. And display the error. And then failed here. There we go. Alright, gonna get a crash server here. Here we go, let's see what we have so far. Okay. It's our server, there we go. Okay. There we go. This was all jacked there. Let's see. Curly brace, not a down. Which I'm sure this goes here. There we go. Yeah. It's so easy to make typos, man. Alright, so let me get that. That one error could jack up everything. Right in here. There we go. Look at that. That one error had all the errors. Alright. Alright, everything's back on. Missing space order. Let's see. Add space. Alright, I believe that did it. Alright, let's run it. Let's run it. Let's test everything. Alright. Let's open it up. Here. Refresh everything. Alright, let's just make sure. So we know our first portion works, where we can add notes, right? We'll be able to add notes, things like that. I'm thinking about also having it to where I could add in pictures to it, to where I could kind of take screenshots. Alright, let's go to our front end. Let's add the next portion here. Okay, then we're gonna add the form. Let me add this spaces here. I'm gonna see why that matters. These two here. Here we go. All right. Now on our front end, let's see here. Okay. Start. Add the new. Okay. Flows better form for creating notes display view. So adding the after the div for the script. Okay. All right. So we're going to add this next portion. Just updating the actual deal here. All right. So. Let me do this here as well. Let's see. That'll be fine. I'll keep it that way for now. So I'm gonna set out 5 different buttons here. Alright, let's go here. On click. Alright, so that's the template for all the buttons here. So let's take that. And then once we do this, we'll be able to set this up to the backend, basically using JavaScript. Alright, so let's see here. Alright. And there we go, trade, and then all. Alright, let's just look at the quick update here before I get into the JavaScript and putting it together here. There we go. Alright, and this will filter everything basically. So right now it's of course undefined, there's nothing there. But this will bring up the notes in the database, right? So this will be fetching everything. Then of course we got the saving notes here. And then once it starts to build the database, that's where the powerful part is going to come in, right? It's going to be able to recommend different things. It's going to be able to suggest things. Using the speech API within the browser, it's going to also talk and things like that. That's what I'm thinking. All right. All right. So now let's go ahead and get into the function here. Okay, that was submitting everything. Here we go. And that's where everything's added. This is going to be the loader, basically. Okay, so we're going to start with an async function. A try statement. Oops. And then here, this is our filtering portion. And these need to be backticks. And then we're going to display the notes, right? Okay, then we're gonna go into the catch statement. And here we want to go backticks. And we're gonna style that here. me see what's going on here. So we got that one. We got the try, and this is here. This is here, and this is here. Ah, there we go. That's part of it here. Let's see. Probably missing a semicolon somewhere. Let me see. I got the variables there. Element by ID. Yep. There we go. Oh no, that ain't right. Okay, that's right. Okay. We'll fix it. Style red. Yep. Let me see what it's saying here. Something off here. 101 at 120. Okay. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna type it up and then we'll debug later. Alright. So we got the async function there, that's the first one. And looks like everything is good there. Let's get to the next function. Alright, now this is the displaying of the notes function here. Ah, look at that. I'm outside of the script. No, I'm in the script. That's what's throwing it off, ain't it? Okay. Something is throwing it off here. Let me see. Catch statement. We got this statement here. This should be here. The try catch statement there. I'm not seeing the error. Alright, let me do this first. Save it first. Okay. Alright. Async function, load notes, okay. Bam, this opens that function here. I don't see the error. Let me see what's up. Should be in a server portion here. Oh, that's no, I got it in there though. I got the backticks there. Let me see. Okay. They're saying something from way up here. Let me do this. Let's see. See, there's no error. The error is in this portion. Okay. The issue is missing the closing. Oh, there it is, guys. There it is. Oh my God. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right, so this is the loading notes portion here. Okay. All right, so we got the load right. All right, the loading is right. Now we're gonna start on the display part. All right. So we're gonna return there. That'll break us out of there. There we go. Alright. All right. Okay. Yeah, right after this, we're almost done with this portion. Right after this, we're going to be able to test it. Right now, we're just making it to where it'll display the notes that we have saved into our database, right? Then as it starts to get our trading notes and kind of like our journal entries, it'll be able to make suggestions to us, give us some motivational things, help us out and things like that. But basically tracking everything, right? I'm gonna go symbol. Symbol here will be from the notes, future symbol. Okay, there we go. I believe we got a few more things I want to add here. I'm gonna add one other thing here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I believe I got one thing off here. Let me see. I don't have this closing div here. Now here we're gonna add the join. There we go. And then one last thing here. Join and then all right, we don't have any errors I'm seeing there. Okay. All right, let's run it. Let's run it. Let's run it. Let's see. All right. All right, here we go. Ah, look at that. Look at that. Cannot see properties of null settings. Enter HTML. We got some errors. Errors. All right. Now the fun part begins. So what I'm gonna do here.
Are you sitting down? Southwest is introducing assigned seating. Assigned seating. Now we can.
Okay. All right. So let's get to the errors, and this will be the last portion. Once I do this here, we pretty much have a wrap on, and then we'll start the front end, making that look nicer, adding the voice chat, things like that. But this is, so far, it's been a fun process. Been a very, very fun project here, putting this together. All right, let me see here. Here we go. So what I'm seeing here, so the way we have these functions here set up here, I am missing some stuff. Here we go. Which I didn't see though. Let me see. Oh, okay. this here ID. There we go. Okay. What? How did I miss an entire function? Let's see. Is that right? I have the load nodes. Missing the display function. Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, so I have several errors. Alright, here we go. I'm missing some semicolons. And it's crazy how typos, I mean, how small of a type, I mean, one little thing will set off everything. And the crazy thing about it, you don't see any errors here in the terminal, nothing showing up here, right? But there are errors. Alright, so let's go ahead and fix this here. Okay, here, this is one of the errors here. I'm gonna put there. Got a typo here on this portion. Let's see exactly where though. Here we go. Typing too fast again. There we go. So we got that fixed. Have the wrong syntax somewhere. Let's see what we have. Move this inside. Ah, okay. Like literally AI is the super master debugger. I mean, it's a debugger, it's a coder, knows literally like every language, every programming language. If you have an ideal, if you could express that into a sentence or a paragraph, right? This thing will basically build anything you need. Alright, let me see exactly where this is. Alright, it's gotta be in here somewhere. Okay, here it is. Okay, it's this whole portion. There we go. Okay, so we got that set now. So that thing is route still gets the SQL space and make sure this space before order. Your server gets still has the SQL spacing issue. Make sure. All right, let's see. Let's test it now. Let's test and see, baby. All right. Reload and shit. Yep, got a 500 error. All right, that's a server error. Space before order. Let's go back here. I wonder if that space could be that one space, huh? Let me see if that'll do it. Oh shit, that did it. That did it. That did it, man. There it is. So now we can, let's test everything all together here. Say we got a trade on gold. Gold long on gold from whatever gold's at. Gold is damn near going to 4,000. And then what I'm gonna work on tomorrow is actually making this thing look more presentable. Adding a few more functions first, but most important thing is working, right? The important pieces are working. That's the beautiful part. Alright, so let me see here. What I want to do is see where gold is, just to see. Okay. So right now gold is at 37.23. Say we got long there. Alright. GC. Alright. So now it logs everything perfectly. Alright, so we can log. Let's check our database just to make sure. There we go. So we have our actual node. We have the node type. Alright. The symbol, the mood. Alright. And then now let's go here. There we go. There we go. That's perfect, man. That's perfect. Alright, so we have completed today's section. Again, if you enjoyed the stream, definitely be sure to subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow where we will continue building out our trading assistant, adding voice capabilities, things like that. But so far we've gotten the note-taking portion down. Alright, this is perfect, man. I mean, it's pretty much our journal here, right? I can come in here. It doesn't even have to be about trading. Look at there. We can go in here. We could just put in anything, right? Make a good note. In this stream, we have built API connection to database, and now can save and retrieve our notes and filter. Alright, and then we'll check again just to look at it. Got all our notes here. There we go. So now we have our own note-taking deal here, man. I mean, this is crazy, right? And then you could go back, you could check out what you were thinking, right? What other features you think we should add as well? Maybe pictures. I was thinking about like real-time type of data, but I mean, getting those type of APIs is, I mean, everywhere I'm looking is pretty expensive, and at the moment it's really no need for it, not for what I'm building. But so far, man, this is perfect, man. Look at this. And then we'll be able to style this once we, you know, really build everything out. But right now, I mean, that is perfect, man. Trading assistance, we got the API set up, the database set up. It's a full-on deal. I'm thinking about adding to where I could delete as well, or even update some of these, right? Because right now we're just creating and retrieving that data. So I'm gonna add a few other functionalities. We'll be back tomorrow. Definitely subscribe so you can get notified, but we will definitely be back tomorrow, continuously building this thing out. Stay tuned and be